In the spirit of respect, authenticity, and reconciliation, the town of Slave Lake honors and acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional lands of Sawridge First Nation within Treaty 8 territory, home to Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have occupied these lands since time immemorial. Councillor Gramlich.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Adams.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the regular meeting of council of the 23rd of April, 2024 minutes.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is also carried. Moving into reports and new business. Kush, you're up first. This is the sanitary sewer industrial zone low pressure expansion phase 2 contract award.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. The purpose of this report is to provide recommendation to Council for awarding the construction contract for North Industrial Zone Low Pressure Expansion, also known as Phase 2 of the sewer expansion project. So the project was approved by Council in 2023 capital budget over the 2 phases. Phase 1 was completed late last year. This year's phase focuses on completing the installation of low pressure sanitary sewer main along North Industrial Zone, the lots north of the airport. We completed the engineering and design, and we tendered the opportunity out this year to request quotes, bids for installing the low pressure main along those industrial lots. We got 4 bids upon closing, and the bid amounts are as follows. United Utilities Limited submitted a bid of $470,369.82. Option Excavating Incorporated submitted a bid of $720,000. Elite Site Services submitted a bid of $738,500, and Pidernis Incorporated submitted a bid of $901,700. Bid evaluation was completed based on the criteria as listed in bid documents. We weighted on schedule, which was 10%. Past performance on similar project was 30%. Key team member was 20%. Tender price was 40%. All the bidders successfully submitted the mandatory documentation, with the exception of Option Excavating Incorporated, who neglected to provide a bid bond and consent of surety. Consequently, their bid was omitted from evaluation process. Based on our evaluation of the information provided, the highest evaluated bid was submitted by United Utilities. They are a civil construction company based out of Penhold, Alberta, that was incorporated in 2018. They have provided construction services to a wide range of clients, including Alberta Transportation, Alberta Parks and Environment, Alberta Infrastructure, and various municipalities and First Nations across Alberta. As a general contractor, they have completed several underground construction projects of comparable size and scope to this project in the last 5 years. Reference checks were also completed with Stantec Consulting Limited, who was provided as a reference for various projects and key personnel assigned to this project. The feedback received indicated that United Utilities Limited has a strong track record of high quality work and possesses the necessary capabilities to successfully execute the defined scope of work outlined in the bid documents. The contractor is proposing to mobilize on July 8th and completing all the work and demobilizing on August 8th, finishing the project within 30-day timeframe. The schedule seems a little aggressive compared to our estimate, and due to that, a clarification phone call was held with the contractor. During that call, the contractor confirmed that the shorter project timeline is possible due to larger crew size working on site, allowing to complete the other project activities simultaneously. Council may choose to proceed with the proposed project by awarding the contract to recommended contractor, or do not proceed with the project at the moment. Anticipated costs are as follows. So construction costs based on the recommended bid would be $470,369.82. We're carrying construction contingency of $141,110.95. Engineering and material testing would be $109,850. So total anticipated project cost would come around $721,330.77. Approved capital budget of $900,000 was allocated for phase 2 from sewer reserves for completing this project this year. Based on the anticipated project cost, the project is expected to stay under budget. Any unused budget amount post project completion will be allocated back to the funding source. All the proposed construction work will be completed as per our infrastructure standards. Once the contract is awarded, a notification letter will be sent out notifying of the construction timelines and other details necessary to the lot owners. Administration is recommending council to award the construction contract for sanitary sewer industrial zone low pressure expansion phase 2 of the sewer expansion project to United Utilities Limited in the amount of $470,369.82 excluding GST.
Counselor Adams.
Quick question, mainly was just wrapping around, why do you guys put in such a large contingency on these kind of bids?
So this one, because the price difference is really like, between the lowest and the
Mhm.
second lowest is really high. So we are carrying just a higher amount of contingency just in case if we come across more kind of like change orders or something down the road. And also our typical norm is between 15%, right?
Mm.
This is again gravel road, so we don't need 15%, 10% would be sufficient. But that larger contingency would allow us to make sure that we don't have project cost overruns down the road. And also like, if it's not experience, but if we have a good track record with a company in the past, then we are comfortable that, work will be done properly and they will try to stay on schedule and on budget. But this is the first time we are working with this company. So we are just unsure as to how it's going to go.
Counselor Adams.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I move that council awards construction contract for sanitary sewer industrial zone low pressure expansion phase 2 of the sewer expansion project to United Utilities Limited in the amount of $470,369.82 excluding GST.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried.
Thank
Thank you.
Ready?
Yes, Alex, you moved up in the report listing, so.
Let's see. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to see you again. First report I'm here to present today is our 2023 Fire Services annual report. So 2023 was a milestone year for us at the Fire Service, as you're aware, with the introduction of our primary care firefighter program. Once again, without sounding like a broken record, our calls were up 692 calls last year in 2023. Volunteer membership is slightly down, a trend that is a challenge for many departments in North America. Medical first response calls are up again this year, and wait times are starting to be longer due to ambulances shortages. Motor vehicle accidents continue to be a large number of responses with more traffic in our region. So in 2024, we want to continue to build on our fire medic program. We've already started to interview students for the next program. Complete our type 1 structure protection trailer and work on other programs and services to keep our members well trained and ready to respond. So on page 20 of your package, the annual report, a bit of a summary to follow up with that. We had a large increase in wildfires last year, as you are aware, one of the worst wildfire seasons in Alberta history. All of our stations responded to a wildfire event on the Old Smith Highway that lasted for approximately 7 days. Around the long weekend. As well, we sent units and members to 13 different communities in the province, including the Northwest Territories last year. We responded to various events also in Big Lakes County and High Prairie and Whitefish, which are part of our mutual aid program. Responding to these various events also means we require highly trained professional responders. Training has become a large focus as we enter into our first paramedic fire program and continue with our annual training for firefighters. Our new rescue truck was delivered in late December. We also took possession of a new to us transportation bus that we turned into a command rehab unit as part of the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie program. And then the trailer that used to be the command trailer was turned over to search and rescue, and the trailer that they were using is going to become part of our hazmat response. The report that we're going to go through will highlight some of the statistics from 2023 and some of the challenges that we will face in 2024 and beyond. A new fire services agreement was also signed with the Sawridge First Nation this year, a formal agreement that we didn't have before. And finally, our radios are here, so we can complete that program that's been ongoing for a couple of years. As well, we are replacing the first fire engine in the MD since the fire in 2011. So there's a new fire engine coming from one of the regional halls. So on the next page, we did this year in the report, we did kind of a high level of our calls, and then I broke it down at the end of the report for yourselves on the individual calls. But by station, we broke down the calls. So Slave Lake had 578. Station 2, which is in Widewater, was 43. Smith was 42. Flatbush was 27. And Mitsue and Search and Rescue each had 1. As you're aware, Mitsue is more of a satellite station right now. Flatbush is typically our busy haul. So they trended down last year for unknown reasons. They trended down, and Widewater happened to be a busy haul. As far as the calls go, we blended them on the big picture again. So fires 327, which includes structures, car, wildland fires, our alarm calls, power lines, trash fires. Rescue, so motor vehicle, rope, confined space, water, ice, machine, search and rescue, and backcountry. Medicals 168. Reminder, these are region wide, so not just per station. Hazmat 18 for a total of 692. Personnel incident hours was 4,714. And then the number that I realized I missed on here is that's the number of call hours, and that would be times by how many responders attended. So that's just the number of call hours we spent last year. On the next page, it shows the 3-year trend for calls. So in 2021 to 2022 to 23, you can see there's a sharp increase in fires and medical calls. Car accidents or rescue and hazmat pretty much stayed the same. The last 10 years, as our call volume started out just at 339, a bit of a dip, and then up to 692 last year. So we'll continue showing that 10-year trend in the annual report. Some of the non-emergency things that we deal with on the fire service, fire and life safety inspections. So last year we had 36. We're still coming out of that post-COVID fire inspection program. Before COVID, we were up in the 70s for fire inspections. We're getting back up to that number now. Investigations, so all fires that have a dollar loss inside of the town of Slave Lake or the MD, we investigate, except for forestry. Forestry does their own investigation on wildfires. So that's 14. So that's car, vehicle, those types of fires. Fire Prevention Week school tours. So 13 schools, 2,800 school-age children were presented to in 2023 in October. We had 5 open houses last year, 1 for Emergency Preparedness Week and 5 for Fire Prevention Week across the region. 4 for across the region. And we had about 1,300 people come to those open houses for those events. We participated in the Candy Cane Check Stop and the Christmas Toy Drive, which we've done for the last number of years. We had 1 Fire Smart community event in Martin Beach. We completed 1 home assessment in Fire Smart. We did our normal hazard reduction burning, about 65 hectares. We continued to mow grass in the town and on the outskirts of town as part of our Fire Smart program. Boat patrols were up last year. We've noticed a sharp increase in water activity since COVID. There's a lot more people using our water and our beaches. We did some pre-incident planning, which is part of our mandate with our staff, 55. We have 20 complete, 21 in progress, and some wildfire pre-planning. The training center, which we've tried to really, especially with our new program, really tried to utilize. Internally, we had 18 new members join us last year. As you can see, 13 in Slave Lake, 1 in Widewater, 3 in Smith, and 1 in Flatbush. We do our in-house training every month with all 5 stations, which include search and rescue. We did a total training hours for members last year was 3,568 across the region. So that's 3 hours a night or 4 hours a night every week for most of those members. We completed basic and advanced wildland urban interface courses, which we developed after the fire with our members, and we continue to teach that internally and externally across the province. We've also hosted 1 in Ontario, and we're going up into the territories this year with 1 of those courses as well. So we're getting those courses out there. Aqua Electrics used our training center for some driver training program, Northern Lakes for confined space, Western Canada Spill Services for some spill exercises. Our special teams, water rescue and technical rescue train every month, search and rescue trains monthly, and our new program that we talked about from the college. So those are some of the rest of the report, kind of the things that we do, our equipment. And then if you turn to page 30 in your report, it kind of breaks down the calls by station. So we had 1 search and rescue call last year. for a missing person. We also activated them quite a bit in May to assist with setting up cots, evacuation centers, fire smart awareness during evacuations, assistance. So they were utilized more, but one actual RCMP task last year. In Slave Lake, we had 576 calls. As you can see, the alarms, vehicle collisions and medical calls were the strongest ones in that. And then broke it down by station for Widewater, Smith and Flatbush to go along with that. And Mitsue had responded to one call with their units to the Old Smith Highway. So that's the 2023 annual report, kind of in a nutshell.
Councillor Kramnik.
Don't have a question, but I have a comment for you, Alex. Minister Lowen was up last week and we asked him some questions on your behalf and he reached out to the MLA's office as we're sitting here and you can burn this up to the CNRL train tracks. You just can't start on their property. That's the new guideline. So you're free to fire smart the railroad.
And I did pass on an email today to CAO. CN is going to be in town for the next couple of weeks, actually brushing along the tracks to clean up some of their property as well. So
Perfect. Well, that's a good sign.
Anything further? Councillor Adams? Councillor Malala?
No, I just had just a small question. I saw you guys working at Tim Hortons last week. I just want to know where the proceeds from this year's Smile Cookie campaign are going to go to.
yeah, so the society, so every year we present 2 or 3 projects to Tim Hortons and the society this year asked for. So a few years ago, we switched our SCBA to a new product and each firefighter has a mask. And so they're going to get a special bag to keep the mask clean and a flashlight that's fire rated for each member to have on their gear on their person. So that's what they've allocated the money for this year.
Now, Councillor Adams.
I'd like to make a motion to accept 2023 Fire Services Annual Report as information.
Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried.
I'm still here.
Are you still here?
So my second report tonight is a follow-up to one I presented a couple of weeks ago for some more of our equipment for our Type 1 wildland trailer. This is the second equipment supply list that went out to RFP. This is for all the hose, all the fittings, all of the basically the nuts and bolts that would finish off the rest of the equipment. So we did do an RFP for this equipment list back in April. We received 4 suppliers came back to us. One supplier was very had a very small equipment list that they were able to bid on. The other 3 basically bid on the full list. Some of them did have equipment substitutions for what we preferred. And so what we did in order to make sure that we were getting the best qualities, we reached out to the suppliers and asked for some samples. So a couple of those have arrived. We're still waiting on one more. I also did reach out to the suppliers and asked if we were to if we could kind of purchase certain items from them, and they were fine with that. And they also said they would hold the price in their RFP for up to 45 days. So they're willing to work with us. All 3 of the suppliers that did the full bid are regular suppliers to us. They were very willing to work with us. So what we're asking today for is as part of this program is to ask for up to $130,000 to purchase the remaining equipment on the task on the item list number 2. And then really the only thing left would be the shelving and the stuff to get the trailer up and running after everything arrives. We've started to get equipment arriving. Some of this has got some very short lead time, so it would start to arrive as soon as the orders are finalized. We still have that kind of end of May, early June date, but as it's just going to be on the rest of the equipment as it arrives.
Okay. So basically you're looking for just the limit so that
Ability to, kind of purchase from each of the ones with the best quality and the best price up to that number.
Councillor Adams.
So just so I understand how this is worded, the allocated budget left is 270,000-ish and you're asking for
So the first one was 100
207,
or 207, yeah. And then there's about $30,000 where the sprinklers were purchased already. And the budget was for 450. So with the 130, that would leave us about $60,000 for the shelving and some brackets and things like that. So there's a very good chance, because we do own the trailer, that we're going to probably come in under budget on this project.
Not a bad thing.
No.
Councillor Choba.
I'd like to move that council approves a maximum amount limit of 130,000 excluding GST for procuring equipment on supply list number 2 for the type 1 trailer.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Alex. Roland, your turn.
All right, good evening, your worship and members of council. The purpose of tonight's report is just to provide council with an update with the year-to-date budget results. Normally I do them till March 31st, but I did it up to April 23rd just to give us a very up-to-date snapshot. Enclosed in the report as well is 2 summaries for you. One is operating budget by type and one is operating budget by department. The operating budget by type strictly focuses on revenue and expense items, separating out reserve transfers and internal department transfers. This way, a perspective gives a straightforward view of the organization's income and expenditure, highlighting trends and comparing them to budgeted expectations. Revenue streams such as user fees, franchise fees, and licenses are assessed in isolation, while expenses are broken down into categories like salaries, contracted services, and debenture interest. The simplified approach is helpful for evaluating the organization's financial health and performance relative to budget, providing a clear baseline for the overall performance outcomes. In contrast, for the operating departments or operating budget by departments, this just gives us a look at department by department and who is spending money where. Just to note that included in the department outlook, internal transfers are included as well as reserve transfers within those departments. Overall, there is not a lot of surprises in the first quarter. I'm not going to go line by line by everything there. I'll just highlight some of the things that are kind of, let's say, off mark or unusual. Interest, 30% earned for the year, trending higher than budgeted for. So we continue to get good rates at the bank as interest rates keep up. Fines and costs, this again, 12% earned. Fine revenue is significantly down from the prior year at this time, and that's mainly due to extremely low photo radar revenue generated for the year. So forecasting for the remainder of the year, we predict that the photo radar revenue will be coming lower than budget. This, however, will not affect the overall budget surplus or deficit for the year, as net photo radar funds are transferred to reserve. However, expectations here that we will be again transferring lower than budgeted reserve transfers from the photo radar funds. Other revenue, you'll see a big spike there, 83% earned. So the largest item under other revenue is just the amounts from the ATCO Streetlight purchase. So we've received all of the funds for that purchase. The remaining amounts to be earned throughout the year are management fees from the Legacy Center. Overall total revenues for the period totaled 12% of the total budgeted revenue for the year. That'll again spike up on the next report as the tax invoices have been sent out, and that taxation revenue will be captured in the next report. On the expense side, only one that I'll probably really big highlight, and this is probably the first time I've ever actually encountered this. So we're sitting at 19% for the year, trending lower than this time of year, and this is all surrounding that fact that we have had no snow removal for the year. The first time since I've been here, we haven't spent a dime having clean snow. So should there be a massive dump later on in the year, we're well positioned this time and probably could provide some enhanced services just to keep up to date and do a good clean in the fall if there's snow. Outside of that, transfers to individuals and organizations. So you'll see that that's spent 94%, and that includes payments towards the library, Wildfire Legacy Center, the Slave Lake and airport. All major organizations have received their annual funding, and the amounts remaining are left for smaller groups. Overall, expenses for the period totaled 23%. for the period. So nothing, nothing too out of whack, still trending in a good direction. And that's really all I had to update council with.
Counselor Moallem.
Under rental income, why is the bulk of rental revenue earned in June and December? Isn't it the same each month for all the tenants?
No, the biggest portion of rental that we get is from the government center. So the government center, the two big items that we get on the government center are the rental portion and then the payments for the debenture, which is basically earned in rental income, which are two massive amounts. So it's 1 million in June and 1 million in December, which is.
Counselor Adams.
My question is not necessary for you, but maybe you can answer it better, Jeff. It falls under the fine section. I know that we're anticipating the lower amount due to photo radar, but are we not also expecting an increase from RCMP presence within the town? Or does that not quite translate that quickly?
Yeah, it's not exactly that clear. And I mean, there's never an expectation. I mean, the law enforcement's never directed to meet certain expectations. I mean, it
Oh, I
just happens
understand
to
that,
be
yeah.
reflective on the amount of time that maybe they're able to spend on it. And it's also reflective of whether or not there's those that are breaking those laws that are receiving those fines, right? Or those traffic infractions, if you will. So it's a difficult thing to predict or to see necessarily a correlation between photo radar enforcement and.
Well, it's
peace
not
officer.
necessarily a correlation between the two that I'm looking for. It was more our expectation to the RCMP for more presence within the community and whether or not that's going to translating to.
Yeah, and
whatever.
sometimes that's the case. I mean, those were, traffic was expressed to the RCMP this year through their annual performance planning as one of our expectations or one of our areas of focus, and along with a number of other things, right? Property crime and different items like that. So, that was conveyed to them. Necessarily how that results in enforcement activities might be a little bit less, might be a little harder for us to predict necessarily, but those were conveyed to them as expectations of our municipality and of our council to focus on for sure.
Thanks.
Counselor Hughes.
I move that council accepts the actuals versus budget as of April 23rd, 2024 report as information.
All right, motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call the question, those in favor, and that is carried. Thank you, Roland. Moving on into question period. Anything for administration? Counselor Gramlich.
Question for Kush. To the mic again, sir. Sorry for holding you. The downtown project, there's some of the drainage areas that aren't covered up yet, and then the tables, chairs, and the centerpieces. Can you
Yes.
let us know like timeline on all of those
And the
items?
artwork too.
That's the centerpiece.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so benches, we already have benches in our yard. It came like late last year, but we didn't have time to install it. Picnic tables, we are expecting sometime after May long. So I was gonna hold off installing benches until picnic table shows up. But
Okay.
we had a conversation with Jeff and we will go ahead and install the benches anyways.
Sure, okay.
The art piece, it's already been approved. I think they're working on fabrication. And the expectation is like their timelines were 4 weeks to complete the fabrications. So we're hoping end of this month, early June, it should be all done. The drainage, like curb and gutter tie-ins on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? So the asphalt patching program, the contractor, we have already agreed to a price. And when they go out to start the patching program, they will go out and they will make sure they will complete that those tie-ins. And expectation is they will have to work overnight or like late in the evening, just so that when the businesses are closed, it would be good time to do those like that kind of tie-ins.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for making you wait
Yeah,
half an
it's all
hour,
good.
but
Any further questions for admin? Okay, I see none. Let's move into correspondence. Okay, so we have a declaration from the Minister of Seniors, Community and Social Services. And it is a request of the one page here that June 3rd to 9th, 2024 to be Seniors Week. That is what I have here. Was there a letter that accompanied it that didn't make it in here, or
This is it.
is this it?
Jason says, read this.
Okay. So we would require a motion for that, Counselor Adams.
I'll make a motion to declare Seniors Week from June 3rd to 9th, 2024.
To be Seniors Week in Slave Lake. Fantastic. All right, motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All the question was in favor. And that is carried. For Ashley, I will sign that if we have a printed copy then. I think I need to. Is that a thing? Okay, and then next.
Yeah, you're supposed
Do I have to read the declaration is exactly the motion? Okay, so I will go with this, then I'll read the declaration. In honor of the past, present, and future contributions of the seniors of the community and throughout Alberta, I hereby declare June 3rd to 9th, 2024 to be Seniors Week in Slave Lake. And then we can put that out. Oh, yeah, no, thank you.
Why I dressed like a senior today for
Thank you.
this declaration.
Okay, next up, we have correspondence surrounding Lemonade Day, Northern Alberta, empowering today's youth to become tomorrow's entrepreneurs. So Lemonade Day is coming back to Northern Alberta for 2024, and it is coming to our town. Community Futures is bringing Lemonade Day and would like to request our support. Lemonade Day Northern Alberta is much broader than just one child selling lemonade from his or her stand. It's a process that gets the whole community focused on investing in our youth and teaching them about business. It also shows them how they can create their own jobs in the future instead of just looking for a job. So they're looking for a proclamation. Lemonade Day is on Saturday, June 15th, 2024. Councillor Grauman.
I will make a motion that we proclaim Lemonade Day, June 15th, 2024.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? That is carried. All right, gear up. We have a very long proclamation to read. I appreciate the Seniors Week one after this one. Whereas Lemonade Day is a free community-wide educational event providing children with the opportunity to learn and apply entrepreneurial thinking and create a foundation for success in the global economy. And whereas Lemonade Day exists to infuse today's youth with the spirit of enterprise, teaching the basic business and entrepreneurial skills necessary to become successful, contributing members of the communities. And whereas Lemonade Day has a core philosophy of spend, save, and share that is implemented by teaching children how to start, own, and operate a business. Learn goal setting, develop a business plan, establish a budget, seek investors, provide customer service, and give back to the community. And whereas Lemonade Day offers opportunities for families, businesses, schools, youth organizations, neighborhoods, institutes of higher learning, and government agencies to unite for a common purpose to train the next generation of entrepreneurs. And whereas Lemonade Day is a day of learning and celebrating Northern Alberta's future. On June 18th, every citizen has a job. June 15th, on June 15th, every citizen has a job either buying or helping children sell lemonade. And therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor of the Town of Slave Lake, on behalf of this council, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2024 to be Lemonade Day in the Town of Slave Lake and encourage every citizen to purchase a cup of lemonade from one of the youths participating in the program to demonstrate how our community cares for the future of our youth. Okay. Fantastic. State of the Lake, Ally.
Mr. Moallem will do.
Councillor Moallem.
Councillor Moallem. Okay. Saturday, May 11th is Shredder Day. Do not be alarmed. I'm not talking about the supervillain and the main antagonist of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Rather,
Turn off his mic.
Rather, the Rotary Club of Slave Lake welcomes you to bring in your boxes of paper for shredding. They will be located in front of the Northern Star Hotel from 9:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. It'll be $10 for a banker's box.
Continue on, sir.
In other news, minor baseball and the Slave Lake Sharks Swim Club start their seasons this week. This is just an example of some of the great organized sports within this region. I would like to thank the volunteers, the volunteer coaches at the Ball Diamonds and the staff at the Aquatic Center for their passion and love for the sport. For you, I'm wishing for dry ball diamonds and wet pools, swimming pools. Dry diamonds and wet.
You for that.
Dry and wet. Last one.
Yep.
I wanted to wish a happy Mother's Day to 4 great mothers out there. Firstly, my mom Shafia, who did a great job keeping who did a great job raising me and my siblings. Secondly, a very happy Mother's Day to my wife Fatima, who has to not only be a mother to our 4 kids, but sometimes to me as well. And lastly, happy Mother's Day to my sister Susan and my sister-in-law Samira, all who are doing a great job looking after their families and raising beautiful children in our community.
That's a stand-up show in itself. Counselor Achoba, continue on.
Following on what Councillor Moalim said, I would like to wish a happy Mother's Day to my mother, Mary, my sister, Angela, my sister-in-law, Blessing and Peace, my wife, Lavette, and my colleagues, Mayor Ward and Councillor Hughes. And as we celebrate Mother's Day this coming Sunday, let us all take a moment to express our gratitude and love for the mothers and mother figures in our communities who have lived their lives to nurture and inspire and strengthen our communities.
That was lovely. Anyone? You probably should. No, okay, I have you more. Oh, pardon me.
More.
Continue. Oh, sorry. I thought that was you ended. That was very nice. Continue.
Should have put that one second. As we continue through Mental Health Week, let us commit ourselves to understanding and supporting, reminding everyone in our community that it's okay to seek help and that together we can build a more compassionate and resilient community.
Fantastic. I have a few to add. As Councillor Achoba was saying, it is Mental Health Week, and why we have our hats in front of us is tomorrow, May 8th, is Hats On for Mental Health. So this recognizes the importance of mental health in the province of Alberta, especially our schools, and it's put on by the Alberta Teachers Association, the Canadian Mental Health Association, and Global TV. So students across the province will participate in a coordinated lesson on understanding mental health and the importance of removing the stigma associated with mental illness. May 5th was also Red Dress Day. That was this weekend. I had the honor of participating in the pancake breakfast held by Métis District 21 and the walk in honor of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls held by the Slave Lake Native Friendship Center. In Canada, 63% of Indigenous women have experienced physical or sexual assault in their lifetime. The impact of these disproportionately high rates of violence is felt in all areas of life. The effects on health and wellness include inequitable access and treatment in healthcare and underrepresentation in health research. And finally, we had a great meeting with the Alberta Forest Products Association and our forest products industrial partners with the mills in our community. And we're looking forward to future advocacy efforts and supporting our mills. Anything else? Okay. Councillor Adams.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Fantastic. Any further discussion? I'll question those in favor. And that is carried.